ब्रेकपछि फेरि स्वागत छ गुड मर्निङ नेपालमा ब्रेकमा जानु अघि मैले अलिकति कुरा गरिहालेँ परफर्मेन्स आर्ट र कम्युनिटी इन्गेजमा आर्टको इम्पोर्टेन्स कतिसम्म महत्त्वपूर्ण हुन्छ र नेपालमा केही समयदेखि भइरहेको लालाबाला काठमाडौँ इन्टरनेसनल चिल्ड्रेन थिएटर फेस्टिभल भइरहेको थियो र यसको चर्चा आफै पनि निकै नै राम्ररी भइरहेको थियो किनकि थिएटर पर्फर्मेन्स र थिएटर फेस्टिभल्सको जब कुरा गर्छौँ र नेपालमा अहिले जति पनि हामी चलचित्रहरूको एकदमै राम्रो सक्सेस देख्नुको एउटा ठूलो कारण पनि थिएटरसँग जोडिएका कथाहरू थिएटरबाट आइरहेको पर्फर्मेन्स र त्यसको इम्प्याक्टहरू पनि पक्कै पनि नेपाली चलचित्रमा पनि अहिले त्यसको एकदमै ठूलो इम्प्याक्ट देख्ने कारणले गर्दाखेरि पक्कै पनि थिएटरको इम्प्याक्ट नेपाल लगायत जगतभरि संसारभरि नै भइरहेको छ र आज यस विषयमा चर्चा गर्नको लागि we have the privilege of hosting two remarkable artists whose dedication to the world of performance arts and community engagement has left the incredible mark globally. First joining us from Australia is we have Chrisjohn Hancock, the artist director of Lydia Theatre Company. For over 3 decades with over 120 productions to his name, Chrisjohn has been pioneer in youth theatre, community arts and cultural storytelling that transcends borders. And second, we have from Germany, the vibrant Lisa Seiler, a passionate member of Circo van Hanover, a dynamic circus school that combines performance, drama, and education to create unforgettable experiences for all the ages. And both of the young wealth of experience and creative are here in Good Morning Show, and today we're going to have a very in-depth conversation with both of them. Welcome to Nepal. Namaste.
Namaste.
So you are here for the International Film Festival. So how was the experience? Starting with you, Chris.
We had a wonderful time. I was so excited about getting here because I'd never been to Nepal before. And also, there was just so many people involved and so many different companies that made the experience so much deeper and more exciting.
Wow, and for you?
Yeah, it was also the first time being here, so we were all excited to come here.
Yeah.
And we didn't know how it's going to happen. Like, we go to other festivals,
yes,
so we have kind of experience like
yes,
how it could be, but you never know how it's in this specific country.
Yeah.
But we were all really enjoying the time.
So
here.
it's the Nepal is very first experience for both of you.
Absolutely.
Yes. And you want to come again back here in Nepal?
Of course.
Yes,
oh, so much so. Yes.
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 So as Chris, we were mentioning about the importance of theatre today, the importance of the festivals as such. For you, in today's time, in 2024, we are coming to 2025 also, the dates, the year is ending. So how you have seen the theatre has emerged in this so many years, and how do you stand where theatre is today now?
Whoa. I think theatre is such an important part of the infrastructure of any culture,
yes,
and of any place. It's a really exciting form of way of sharing and remembering and teaching.
Yes.
And I think that this festival and all the festivals are a way to really focus the community's attention on the arts and on how theatre can be a really valuable tool within a community to learn about culture and share cultures. Because we were in Nepal, but we were also learning about German culture, yes, and other cultures at the same time, and it was a great experience.
Yes, very truly said. The start of any thing in the world has started from theatre, and that the impact of theatre, the way we see in the mainstream movies or anything we see, I think we always want to get the factor of theatre because it brings so much of realistic issues, social issues. It connects well. So for you, Lisa, you are also a very active member of Circo Hanover. So circus in itself, we think that with time, circus has been a concept that people don't remember much. And do you feel the same, that circus before and today has been, people have forget about circus? Have you feel that?
Yeah, and circus is changing actually.
Yes.
So there used to be the traditional circus, and now there's coming the so-called new circus.
Yes.
So like years before, there was like you go on stage and you have one act, then the artists go back and then there's another act, another act. And now it's coming more and more towards the theater.
Yes.
So it's more like a whole story on stage, and mostly all of the actors are on stage the whole time, and they just don't go backstage and then come back on stage all the time, but they stay on stage for most of the time.
So the concept of circus is evolving with time. That's what you meant.
Yes.
And this evolving with time is good, or there are also disadvantages towards it?
I guess it's what you like. So it's different for different people, but I think it's a good thing that it's changing.
Yeah,
I think it's great in Australia because circus gets more and more incorporated into straight dramas, into theatre.
Wow.
So theatre's become more of a multimedia sort of multi-arts event. It's not just putting on a story now. The story can include a lot of circus arts in the work. And in Australia, circus has become quite an important element to entertainment around the country.
Yeah, so that's very true. And the way you define the concept of circus is also something I think we can also explore here as well, because something, the concept that you are talking about circus here is something we are not much familiar about. We also would love to know more about it. And that's why having this conversation can also enlighten the fact about how circus has evolved and how we can also try to practice doing circus here in Nepal. Chris, coming back to you, you have directed over 120 production at Leader Theatre Company. 120 production, it's a huge number. And you have been very active about your storytelling for almost 3 decades, if I'm right. What keeps you inspired?
I grew up with a real love of theatre, and for me it's a real passion, certainly is a passion. I see that theatre can be a real healing force, and I really believe that working in communities, it's a really wonderful way of giving people an opportunity to express themselves and deal with certain issues that are important to them. Yes. Our company in a small town called Goulburn in New South Wales, Australia, it's the longest running theatre company in Australia.
Wow.
And I was lucky enough to be the director there for 30 years.
Wow.
Now I'm retired. But during that time, there were so many people involved that we had to split it so that while there's the community company, there's also a youth theatre, a strong youth theatre company now.
Wow.
And it's through the young people that we can explore much more innovative and exciting ways to express yourself.
Yes.
And we do a lot of devised productions with the young people.
Yes.
And I think they can be some of the most exciting pieces of theatre because they really
They excite
connect.
you?
They absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And they really connect with the performers and give back something to the community that they're performing to.
Giving back to community is something very important notion that when we start something, we always forget about. But being rooted with the community and always giving back brings so much of stories, so much of realistic issues, as you rightfully mentioned. So the young people, working with the young people, the innovation right today, it really inspires you.
Absolutely, yes.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah. And coming to you, Lisa, when we talk about Circo Hanover, can you highlight us what is Circo Hanover and how it functions, how is it working, how is it blending your work with circus, drama, and community learning?
That's a big question.
We'd love to know.
So, Circo Hanover is a really big association, so we have different parts what we're doing. So our main part is our own rooms, kind of, where we have like 3 to 4 different courses each day.
Yes.
And we start with 3 years old children, and they can come on Sunday with their parents. Right. So they have, it's like a connection between parents and children, what they can do here. And I think the oldest in our association, they're like 65 or something, and they're still on stage with us.
Yes.
So it keeps them young, and they want to do circus, and they do acrobatics, so they still do handstands on other people. So there's no limit, I would say.
Wow.
Yes, so they're still training and liking it. On the other hand, we're also going to schools, for example, or we're having social weeks and holidays, so they can come to us and we train them for a week, and at the end of the week we have a big show. So it's to get confidential for all of them, because in circus it's not like any other sports like soccer where you just follow the ball, but you can go in the air, you can do acrobatics on the floor, you can juggle, you can play the diabolo. Yes, and you can do so many different things. There's not like you have to do this. You can do whatever you feel like you want to do. So there's lots of different types.
And have you tried any of it?
Of the circus?
Yes.
Yes. So I started circus like 25 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so when I was young, I kind of learned everything, at least the basics.
Yeah.
So I think it's important as a teacher to know the basics at least, so you can teach them better. And in the end, I concentrated on acrobatics. So now I'm an acrobatics teacher.
Wow.
And like you say, it really builds confidence. It's a really great confidence building. And I love circus because it's got an element of risk.
Yes.
And that element of risk is what makes it exciting.
Exactly.
Exciting, and it also, it's exciting for the participants just as much for the audience.
Yes, exactly. It's very exciting, and as also the audience. When I have been part of circus, I have always been in edge. I'm like, my breaths are like, it's not, I cannot even control. I'm like, oh my God, what is going to happen next? It's going to work out. It's some kind of accident is going to happen or not. It's really scary when we just see the circus and the format of it. And it's kudos to people who are working in circus, the unseen, where we don't know much about what really happens behind the scenes. So as you really highlighted about the experiments they do and the skills it needs, the risk. Thank you for keeping up the circus and making people like us enjoy circus with such a smooth and ease. But the behind the scenes sounds really scary, and lots of hard work is also needed, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's lots of discipline what you need to do.
So you said you started this 25 years ago. So how young you were?
I was in grade 5, so I was like 11 or something.
Oh, wow. What I was doing in 11, I was probably not doing anything. I was just trying to get good marks, and I was doing nothing. I think extracurricular activities is also one very important highlight for everyone. We have to be very focused on our studies, but also besides, we also need to experience with our talents and activities. That is also a very good message to our audience as well. So coming back to you, Chris, when we were talking about the theater, you have been here in this industry for 3 decades. So what this kind of international festivals, when you are traveling around, when you see people, when you meet people, how does this performance, performers really how impact to you? How this kind of international festivals really impact the community, on your opinion?
Well, for me, I think the sharing part is the most valuable part, where you get to meet and learn about new cultures. You get to stay with wonderful host families. We get to see different countries, and I love bringing children from Australia to international festivals, because I believe it's such an important learning experience. It really is a great form of education for young people to travel into a new country and really experience the culture.
So how many countries you have traveled with your kids?
I don't know.
You don't know?
A few.
Like in the numbers, it's above 10, 20, 30?
Yeah, well, maybe not 30. No, I started working with an international theatre company in 1990. Well, before that, I worked in Edinburgh for a couple of years, in the slums in Edinburgh. I then worked in Arnhem Land in Northern Australia, which I found as a really valuable resource for me. I was very inspired by Indigenous First Nation people in Australia. But also, I've then taken children to New Zealand, to America, to Poland, to Korea.
And the important question, when in Nepal?
Pardon?
When in Nepal?
When?
When you are planning for Nepal?
When did we plan?
So are you planning to bring the children here in Nepal?
Oh, look, I know that the festival coordinator Tanka, he's really hoping that we will be able to bring children next year or the year after.
Because the reason I asked you this question was to just know when you are trying to, and also to give you the pressure that you have to bring the children here in Nepal as well.
Please. No. Look, Tanka, who organised the Lalabala Festival, and this is the 4th year. It's and from what I understand, every year it grows bigger and bigger. So he's really hoping that we'll be able to bring a group next year.
So we would love to have another interview with you next year while bringing the children here in Nepal. So when we talk about the amazing factors about circus theatre, of course, challenges also comes aside. So Lisa, I want to know, what are the challenges you have faced in teaching different age groups? People come from different backgrounds. How do you have faced the challenge? What are the kinds of challenges you have faced it, and how you overcome with it? Well, there is no challenge.
I think there is no challenge, actually.
Wow.
I think it's more, you have to look at a different side of things, so not seeing it as a challenge. It's more, let's see what's going to happen and handle the situation. And I think, no, they're not really challenged. Like the group I brought to Nepal this year, they're between 13 and 22, so there's a age range, but they're all being as one, so they don't care if they're 13 or 22, they care for each other and they look after each other. Or while we were training before, we were just training for Nepal, so we just made a show to come here with this group. And you couldn't see, like you could see that there are different levels in the acrobatic skills, for example. But it doesn't matter, they were showing each other the tricks and helping each other. The same here, some of them speak English a little bit better, some are a bit more uncomfortable, but they help each other. So I think this is really important, and it's really important for them to come here and experience all of this. And it's also really nice, like when they come in the morning from the host family and they're smiling, oh, we did this, we did that, they put clothes on and we learned a dance, and they're like smiling, and it's really nice to see their faces the next day.
So you are trying to say that you are in such an amazing profession already, and there are barely any challenges. Now you're making me feel really, really jealous right now.
I mean, there are always challenges, but it's always the way you look at it, I would say.
That's really positive energy for our morning to be started as well. There can be challenges, but we have to look at the other side, and that can always turn into opportunities of blending and knowing each other and trying to also comforting each other. That's a really wonderful message from Lisa. For you, Chris, have you faced the challenges, or you also have not faced the challenges?
Well, no, look, I think I've running a small theatre company in Australia is full of challenges, but I think, like Lisa said, it's about embracing them and looking at them as positive challenges and things to overcome and work through. I think what Lisa was saying, the fact that when you create a show, you really develop a really tight ensemble, a real team. And I think that teamwork and that team doesn't matter what age the participants are. It's it really is. It becomes like a family, and so the family helps overcome. Everybody works together to solve problems, and that's what theatre is. Theatre is problem solving, and that's what makes good drama. There's a challenge, there's a problem, and you overcome it, and that's what good theatre is.
That's a part of process.
It's part of the storytelling.
Yes, exactly.
There has to be some sort of obstacle to get around or overcome.
So Chris, in the inside world of what you have been working inside the theatre, inside the circus, of course there seems lots of comforting things. It really, you see it as an opportunity, and how you thrive through it. Beautiful. But in today's world, it's moving too fast. We want every information within 60 seconds. The world is scrolling. Even the patience that we had for watching one movie before, we don't have the same patience anymore. OTT platforms has just immersed someone. People have too many options when it comes to entertainment. Does that also affect theatres? The audience of theatre has been affected or not?
In a major way in Australia. Technology and multimedia have become a very integral part of performance in Australia. And if a company can afford the technology, then they will go all out with absolutely everything they can to keep in touch with young people and with the developments of the day. So theatre has become in Australia very multimedia. Multi-arts, which I've seen incorporate circus and every other form of the arts that it can to keep the performance fresh. Script writers are writing plays that are more like films now. So for a challenge for a stage play is to present the stage play with the same speed that you talk about to keep it exciting. And that certainly has impacted on how theatre is created and how it's seen.
So how do you feel like in coming years how the theatre will be impacted in a major way? Because the rapid attention span of people are going to be lesser and lesser with time. So how do you think it will impact the theatres?
Well, I think that's interesting because a lot of plays now can be 2 or 3 or 4 hours long. And which shouldn't be the case.
Yeah.
They should be shorter.
Yes.
To keep the attention span.
Yes.
But there's a lot of really exciting theatre that does go for a number of hours.
Right.
And if it's performed in a creative and inspiring and innovative way, and it has a strong message, then I think the audience will remain attentive. Yeah.
So the concept of theatre will not be fading away with time?
I don't think so.
You don't
But
think
I also
so?
think it's the other way around, that people go to the theatre or to the circus because there they can relax from the phone or whatever, so they don't need to look like they can just relax and sit
exactly.
there. So it's like another room there, kind of.
When it comes to, again, the challenges part, what the outside of world always talks about circus is sometimes about human rights cases, how the performers, especially really also making animals perform. When people think about circus, the first thing they recall is animals performing in the circus. That also has backlash circus most of the time in days, mostly I think in 10 years back, the concept of circus was like that. It's all animals and circus. And with that also, the concept of circus has not been much welcomed. Do you have felt similar kind of experience about the circus, that people have a narrative built inside their head that maybe in circus there is something that's not going right when it comes to people performing or animals, it's against their will? So it's kind of backlashes also that are faced by circus. How do we like to defend that part?
Yes, so in our circus we don't have any animals.
Yes.
And in Germany there are certain rules which make it difficult for circuses with animal to perform.
Yes.
So it's not a big issue in Germany anymore if it comes to animals and the circus. There are still circuses and they're still performing also in Germany, but then the animals are getting smaller. It's not like the big animals anymore. But I think the bigger problem is that people want to watch it, that they want to see the animals on stage.
Yes.
And I think this is something which has to change.
Yes,
because it's not good for the animals. It's not a nice life for them.
Exactly.
And I think there's enough we can do on stage as a human being, which is also nice to look at and to watch for the people.
Yes.
So I think we should rather change
this concepts of circus, like not abusing animals, but rather having humans with real skills, real experiences, going for their wills and participating in it. And that's how we flourish. But because the reason I asked you this question, because whenever we talk about circus, the first thing people think about a circus is it's animal. Animals are going to perform. So that kind of concept, I am glad to know that in Germany, especially in your circus, you don't practice that. But in around the world, there are lots of circus companies that they do that. How do you would like to give them the message when they use animals for the source of entertainment?
Well, that's a hard one, isn't it?
Yes.
I think that those circuses that have been going for such a long time, they're stuck in that way. You know, they can't really get out of it because that's the only way they know.
Yes.
And like you say, audiences still want to see animals perform, which is sad.
Yes,
but also circus has moved so much forward, incorporating so many other elements, but there's still that element of risk, which I think circus is. You know, you're scared of the lion, you know, or you're scared, which is the same as being scared for the trapeze artist who could fall off the wire. You know, so it's just creating a risk and excitement using humans.
Yes.
That's a total different kind of circus.
Yeah,
exactly.
and it will evolve, but it's a slow process.
Yes,
because
it will evolve with time.
There are families that have been going for years and years, and the family just passes on the tradition,
And I think its time has come to question those kind of traditions as well sometimes.
But it's also difficult for these families to change it because that's their way of performing. So it's hard to change it for them. They are able to do it, but it's hard for them. So they have to, something has to happen.
Today is also a very important day for all of us around the world, International Human Rights Day. As we much celebrate the importance of human rights, it's also very important to aware about the fact that animals' rights are also very, very equally important. With this message also we have to move forward and let human talent flourish on all around the fields, and let's explore and give platforms, and let's be entertained by human minds, how they celebrate performing arts, how they celebrate theatre. So we also can do that and celebrate this beautiful day as well. So coming back to you, Chris, I would like to ask this question, like how does your global experiences really help your vision? Like you visited Orwell's house in Myanmar. So how it has influenced your vision when it comes to artistic vision, when it comes to global experiences?
Well, that experience certainly was very memorable.
Yes.
Going through Myanmar was a real cultural education for me, and that's what I mean by traveling and exploring the world, going to international events.
Yes.
Just is such an enormous education, and I just think that it's so important for everybody to learn how to be humble.
Yeah.
and that's a really great way of doing it.
Yes.
By being involved in international events which are designed to celebrate and share culture.
Wow.
Yeah.
And for you, Lisa, I would like to know like how Nepal and German approaches to art has, when you compare the approaches in Nepal and German, how your experience has been while you were here in Nepal and in the German, the working, the style, everything, how it has helped you in your experience?
I think most of the things are pretty similar.
Yes.
I think coming back to the challenges, we're both facing the same challenges.
Yes.
That there's not a lot of money, for example.
Yeah.
So
budget is always the problem.
So the equipment is not the best what we can use, like lights or for sound or whatever. So yeah.
There's never enough money for the arts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a really hard challenge, I would say. I mean, we're always trying to do the best out of it.
Yes, exactly. I was trying to come to that part also. When we talk about challenging, money is very important for anything or anyone to go on. And how the circus and even the theatre itself, do you get enough funds? Especially when you are traveling for different festivals, there should be lots of production work that goes behind the scenes, lots of things. So when even performing or even keeping anything at the stage, that needs lots of budget. So how your government supports it, or there is a certain policy, how it works in Germany, that we also can learn from Germany?
Yeah, so for the travel itself, we get fund, like a little fund, but it's not the whole travel is not funded.
But there's a support.
Yeah, let's say a third, about a third or half maybe, is funded. But the rest they have to pay, like all the kids have to pay by themselves. Yeah. And then I and the other trainer who came as well, Luca, we're doing it all for free. We're not getting any money. We didn't get money for the show or for the training we had before. So we're doing this all for free.
Yes.
So it's all social.
How we sustain it, how we sustain the profession of circus and theatre to get the budget. Who should be very intervened here? The government or the locals? Who should be investing in it?
I look in Australia. It's very similar. In Australia, there's never enough money. Never ever enough money for the arts.
Every country's problem.
It's the same. In Australia, there's major companies receive the bulk of funding, but even then they rely heavily on sponsorship.
Yes.
The further away from a city you live, the less funding there is. So in our town, Goulburn, we get a small amount of local government funding, but very rarely do we get state or federal funding.
Exactly.
Occasionally we will, but we have to work very hard. And it's about, like Lisa said, we self-fund. We pay for our own way to go to these festivals. Occasionally we will do some fundraising activity with the company, but generally the participants know that they need to pay their own way.
Yes, exactly. I think the similar situation is also here in Nepal, where the fundings are very limited, the budgets are really tight. So that's why also we'd like to request our government as well to give an important attention to theatre, because it really explores the main agenda of society, how it brings the social issues in the front. And to bring the social issues in the front, they also need the budget so that it is presented in a way that it has an impact direct to policy or maybe to the advocacies as well. So that would be a request to our government as well, to have the budget and the fund for the things that are really important and to prioritize it as well. So while you're here in Nepal, as much you were here for the festival, what are your thoughts on Nepal's theatres landscape, and how do you think you see it evolving?
I we have seen a number of children's theatre performances. I would love to see some adult performances.
Yes.
I'd love to see some adult theatre.
Yeah.
The thing that I enjoyed about the children's performances, they were telling stories that were connected with the past,
yes,
but also had a meaning for today. And I thought that was lovely, how they incorporated traditional stories,
yes,
into today's themes, and that was something that I thought was a really nice element to the shows that I saw by the children. I thought the children performed with passion, and they understood what they were doing, and they did it seriously with with a commitment. And I think that's lovely.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Lisa, for you, what social changes you aim to inspire through drama and circus arts?
I think it's more to give confidence to all the children,
yes,
and to make them what they like and what they love. It's like what he said before, that they were also passionate about what they did on stage. So
yes,
even if they were not, if the play was not in English, for example, they had like the facial expression was so good, so you still could follow the story, or try to follow the story at least. But you were still able to do that. So I think if someone loves what he or she is doing, then the person should do it, no matter how or with the circumstances.
So maybe having you also as an audience maybe made them feel more little scared to have you there as an audience.
Well, maybe that's good.
Yeah, they were a little scared, intimidated. Oh no, we're going to be judged by the experts, the very important people, and that also sometimes makes us nervous. Did you feel that? Of course, I know they had. I can speak on their behalf. Yes, they had. So, for you, Lisa, again, what are the opportunities after your experiences here in Nepal? What are the opportunities or possibilities of collaboration do you see here in Nepal for future?
Yes, we were already talking about cooperation series. So, for example, the theater we were performing at, they directly asked us if it's possible for us to come back and give workshops for the people working in the theater, so for the actors, because they want to implement it a bit more on stage, to have more acrobatics, for example, on stage. So theater is becoming more and more interesting, or in a different way. So we were directly checking out when the dates would fit. So there's already stuff happening about that.
So you're saying soon there will be chance you bringing the performers from the respective country. I'm pressuring both of you that you have to come back and you have to bring the children and perform and do lots of because I think every start needs to be consistent to again explore. And we would not like the sad part is that you will be leaving soon from Nepal, but you have to come back again. That's why in the show I'm pressuring you already, to both of you, that you have to come back and do amazing collaboration and projects here in Nepal as well. So that would bring, I think, much more beautiful relationship between Nepal and Australia and in German when it comes to art, especially focusing, and the bridge is children's. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, but you know, when we come back and it's not that we just bring something to Nepal, like when we teach here, we're also getting back a lot, so we're also learning a lot. So we like to come back.
We will give it all back to you with lots of hospitality and everything we can do, and that is how we explore also. Chris, we are almost at the end of the show. So it's a very important question, and I would like to ask, how do you think, how can theatre and circus combined create a very unique, can create something very unique in Nepali audiences or not? Do you think there are possibilities?
Absolutely. I think there's a universality about theatre, and it is, wherever you are, it always generates celebration. It always generates something from the heart.
Yes.
You know, it's an education. It can be healing, and I think that no matter where you are in the world, and we've experienced such incredible generosity and such care and attention to us by everyone we've met here. I think Nepal is such a beautiful country.
Yes,
really
and the people are also. So, so Lisa, I would like to also ask you this question. Almost we're at the end. So, for you, After working in circus and having lots of experiences in the field itself, there are lots of audiences here watching you as well who wants to also come in this similar field and want to explore themselves. What would be your message to them?
Just try. Just do it. Just go for it.
Wow. So so also while you go back to your countries, we will also be lots of people who want to get in touch with you. So how can we get in touch with you? Like there is, we have a website or social media. What is it? How we can easily reach out to both of you? What are the access loops?
Leader Theatre, the Leader Theatre Company is very active on Facebook and Instagram. Yep.
Okay.
We've got a really great website with a lot of archival information, plus what's going on currently. Like with Lisa, there's training, there's weekly classes, there's new projects happening all the time. So look at the website.
Leader Theatre Company.
Well, yes, the website is theleadertheatre.com.
Okay, theleadertheatre.com मा गएर पनि तपाईहरुले उहाँलाई आरामैसँग भेट्न सक्नुहुन्छ, and you can try to be in the theatre performances if you are in Australia, and also from Nepal also you can get lots of information about the storytelling format and theatre. And how can we reach out to Circle?
It's the same. So we have a webpage. So it's Circle Hannover. And we also have Instagram. So if you type in Circle Hannover as a webpage or in Instagram, you will find us.
Wow. So thank you so much for both of you for a lovely conversation in such a short span of time. I know you are in Nepal. You have lots of things to do. You are also traveling. Everything is there. But you started our morning. You gave us your morning time and educated us and our audience with your experiences and the possibilities of circus and theatre and how it can expand with time, and how we as audience should also evolve and be very, very connected to the roots that today whatever we enjoy, the roots started from theatre, started from circus. So we should never forget the roots. And with that very important message, we are really grateful for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
र आज यही विषयमा चर्चा गरिसकेपछि पर्फर्मिङ आर्ट र कम्बाइन्ड कम्युनिटी लर्निङको इम्प्याक्ट कतिसम्म हुन सक्छ र संसारभरि विश्वभरि नै यसको प्रयास भइरहेको देख्दाखेरि पक्कै पनि निकै खुसी लाग्छ र यसले एउटा उत्साहित माहौल पनि हामी सबैको लागि बनाउँछ, जहाँ सबैजनाको प्रयाससँगै आउन सक्यो भने हामीले पक्कै पनि एक्सप्लोर गर्नको लागि धेरै कुरा छ। र जहाँ जुन समयमा हामी समयसँग एकदमै बढिरहेको छौँ, टेक्नोलोजीसँग अघि बढिरहेको छौँ, त्यहाँ थिएटर सर्कस जस्तो कुरालाई चाहिँ बिर्सिनुहुन्न, किनकि त्यसले आर्टलाई एउटा स्किललाई करियरलाई पनि अपलिफ्ट गर्छ। सो यही रिमाइन्डर दिँदै अब गुड मर्निङ नेपालबाट पनि बिदा लिने समय भइसकेको छ। हामी अझै रमाइलो विषयहरू लिएर भोलि हजुरहरूसँग फेरि पनि जोडिन्छौँ। अहिले हामीलाई बिदा दिनुहोला। धन्यवाद। नमस्ते।